Hey guys, and welcome back to the Wind Down with Yana. I am your host, and thank you for joining me again this week. I hope you guys watched last week's episode where I had sommelier Errol Pere join me. He did so amazing in that interview, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it because he is definitely very knowledgeable about wine and he loves doing tastings, things like that. So if you haven't watched it, make sure that you catch up on that episode because he unlocked some good gems on some wines at an affordable price. I went to LA Wine Fest over the weekend purely on a fluke. It wasn't planned this year. So I didn't really get much content, but I did meet quite a few people that I will be doing some collabs with. I've got my 20th anniversary glass or cup, I should say. There we go. It's there. It's in focus. Wait, lost focus. There it is. And the featured wine for tonight, I actually got to meet the winemaker while I was there. Look at this. Uh-oh. Can't get it in focus. What is with me and the singing? But I'm actually going to pop this open and get to tasting, get to sipping, and get into the show. You can get this at Pavilions. He said they're in Vons, Rouse. My eyes are watering like crazy. I have the worst allergies today for some, well, no, not for some reason, because I was outdoors. And the pollen is kicking my behind. But I mean, I feel okay, but my nose and my eyes are just like, I don't want to do nothing. But yeah, let's get to this wine because I definitely do not mind having another drink or a drink today. I should say another drink this weekend because I've been drinking since Friday, which is totally okay. Had some girl time on Friday, which was absolutely amazing. And LA Wine Fest yesterday. Jesus Christ, I could not get that open. They do have bottles this size at Total Wine and More. This one will run you about $4.99. And who doesn't love a mini? It's perfect for those little moments when you're just like, I just need a sip and don't want to open the whole bottle. But I am ready to get into it. I'm just going to pour the whole thing. I'll finish it throughout the episode. Look at that color. Oh, get it in focus, Kiana. There we go. Oh, it smells amazing. It tastes great too. It's 11.5%, so it'll give you a little something there that you won't have to be too worried about. But it's definitely going to do its job. Perfect for mimosas, based off of what I'm tasting. And it's medium bodied with notes of citrus. So I like it. Definitely pretty good. But again, thank you for joining me. And I am going to get into this conversation. um, this is one that I was just having with a friend, even just today. And it's talked about, but it's never just like everyone likes to sugarcoat it when we talk about it, things like that. And it's mainly surface level, but we don't talk about the weight, the expectations, and the generational myths that told us we have to be everything for everyone. And I'm talking about women. So I'm going to peel back the layers on some things that I've personally lived, felt, and honestly have been buried under at times. The myth of being the strong Black woman. especially in motherhood. Um, it's an epidemic, especially for, single moms, or I should say, I hate the term single mom, single women who are parents, because a lot of women do have great co-parents. So the term single mom just bugs me. It's like, unless that parent, the other parent, is deceased, you really shouldn't, you're a single woman. That's just what it is. But motherhood, if for a lot of us, it feels exhausting, and not in a sense where you don't like being a mom. It's never that. I love being a mom. I love my kids, with everything in me. I would give up my life for my kids. But there are times where I have moments where I just want to be soft. I don't want to think. Like, I just don't want to think. And only moms understand me when I say that. And it sometimes sounds like complaining to people that don't get it, but that's not the case. I am a mom through and through, and I love it. Let's get started with the stereotype. Moms are unbreakable, resilient, and most of them hold everybody down, and at the cost of herself a lot of the times. A 2001 study in the Journal of Black Psychology, I don't know why that's bugging me now, found that 70% of Black women internalize the strong Black woman, which includes emotional suppression, caretaking, and self-sacrifice, often without asking for help. We've been taught through, you know, our moms, our grandmothers, even pop culture glamorizes, you're supposed to be strong. You don't talk about, how you're affected by motherhood. And being a mom means to suffer gracefully, but at what cost? Uh, I have moments where I don't ask for the support that I need, and mainly because I don't want to look weak. And that sounds weak in itself. Trust me. I have moments where I just do. And I have to ask, mainly because I have the type of friends that we're real about motherhood. It's like, it's not just one of those things where we glamorize it and make it seem like we're not affected by the things that we're doing every day. You know, all of my mom friends, we're working full time, we're taking care of our kids. We have, extracurriculars that we do for our children. It's not just, I get to be a mom. And like I said, there are moments where I just want to be soft. I don't want to have to, fuss, things like that. And a lot of the time, once you have kids, who do they go to first? Mom. I had a moment once when my youngest was, I don't know, he may have been like 3, 4 years old. If that, he might have been 3 or 4 years old. His dad and his sister and his brother were sitting on the couch. I was trying to take a shower, and I should have locked the door, but I didn't. And this little sucker decided he wanted juice. And what does he do? He walks in the bathroom, opens the shower door, and asks me if he could have juice. There are 3 other people that you could have asked that question, but you chose to come and interrupt my private time to ask me for some juice. So it's little things like that where you're just like, okay. And it's not exhausting. It's funny, after the fact. But when you're in that moment, you're just like, I just wanted to shut my brain down. Or I don't know. At that moment, I don't know what I was doing other than showering. But a lot of times when I'm in the shower, I'm thinking of multiple things. A lot of times I don't sleep the best because my brain is constantly going, oh my gosh, I got to do this. What's going on this day? Okay, I got to think ahead so we don't fuck up. We don't mess up and not get something done. It's constantly on go. Did I do this? Who's got to be here on this day? Okay, well then if I have to do this and he has this going on, how can we intertwine our time where it's always ongoing. And I find myself when my friends are, talking about certain things when it comes to parenthood, asking them, when was the last time that you stopped and paused just for a moment instead of pushing through? And the more I talk to my friends about things to help them out, the more I realize I have to ask myself those same things. And sometimes when I actually do take my own advice, because I don't do that very often, uh, it helps me dig a little deeper. And sometimes I get a little emotional while I'm doing it, but it is what it is. So, like, in my current situation, going through this unlawful eviction while working full time, parenting, still making sure that I have my outlet, which is doing this every week, and fighting a legal battle while still trying to find housing. I felt like I couldn't pause. I felt like I couldn't enjoy life. And it kind of sucked a little bit, because when I did have a little bit of enjoyment, I would feel a little guilty. And I had numerous people that, when I say they're on my team, they're on my team, remind me it's okay for me to enjoy my life. It's okay for me to still pursue my joy with doing this. It's okay for me to get out and not be with my son, all the time. It's okay. It's all okay. And it kind of helped me put things into perspective. If I can still work while going through everything I'm going through, I can still take care of my child while I'm going, why shouldn't I continue pursuing my passion, which is this growing my platform? And now it's like, if anybody says something negative, which I've had some negative comments, and it made me feel away, and then it's like, why? If you feel like that, are you really on my side? But whatever. But I had moments where I wouldn't ask for help, and it wasn't because I didn't need it. I just felt like I was expected, and again, this is just me and my thoughts, I was expected to keep being strong and push through. And that wasn't the expectation. But as a mom, you feel that way. You feel like, if I'm asking for help, that means I can't handle things. If I'm asking for help, I'm weak. If I'm asking for help, that means that, people don't see me, until I realize sometimes people don't know how to help. And that includes your spouse. They don't always know how to help you if you don't ask. So asking isn't a weakness. And I'm still learning to adapt to that. And I've been doing a lot better with that. But I knew I was feeling overwhelmed because, and I've only told like 3 people this situation, and people I work with, they know because they witnessed it firsthand. But I was at my desk and I'm in the middle of working. I'm just typing away. And then I felt one tear come down. And before I knew it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm crying. So I had to get up, take a break, and I went for my walk. And I started feeling a little better. And as I'm like going through my walk, my Apple Watch notifies me that I had a high heart rate as I was inactive for, 10 minutes. And if you have an Apple Watch, I'm sure you've gotten those notices before. But it showed me that my anxiety was greater than anything that I could handle on my own in that moment. The sun is sunning right now, but okay, come through. Uh, and I had to let it out. I had to go, I had to walk, I had to cry. And I just had to do that for me, because I don't want to show my son those emotions. I try to keep things as lighthearted as possible. Dang, the sun is sunning right now, and it is beaming on me. I don't want him to feel any kind of way. I try to keep things lighthearted, keep him happy, do things that he will enjoy, so he's not too negatively affected by what we're going through. It's not always easy because I have moments where I just need to be weak. I need to be able to not hold in those emotions. And again, it's not like I didn't ask for help because I didn't need it, but sometimes I don't know what I need in those moments. So to ask. So sometimes I have people, like I have one of my friend workers who just be like, hey, do you want, this, or here, you need to eat. And she'll just put stuff on my desk to make sure I've, eaten for the day. And it does make me happy. I have friends that'll just randomly, text me and go, hey, do you guys want to don't want to go do this? Do you want to do that? And it provides a help that they don't realize that they are giving me without me having to ask, because sometimes I don't know what I need. But um, it's hard because sometimes people will say, you got this. I do, but at what cost? Me potentially breaking down, me holding in emotions sometimes that I don't want to hold in. Sometimes you know, I can't even put into words how I'm feeling. But right now, just living that strong mom and proving that I can handle it all, even when I don't want to handle it sometimes. It's, it's a lot. But that moment sitting at my desk was when I realized that this wasn't just about strength. I was in survival mode. And I didn't know that. It wasn't until I had talked to my therapist, because yes, you guys will be proud of me. I've been keeping up with that because I need it more now than ever. And it's the only thing that keeps me smiling consistently. Like the people at my job, they'll look at me and go, how the hell are you smiling? You're not taking it out on people, things of that nature. I'm like, because I have no choice. But I deserve more than to just survive. Everyone does. Like, it's insane. But we we as women, we constantly are going through that. And now that I'm able to stop, process, formulate a plan sometimes, and then say, you know, hey, I was just thinking about this. This is what I was thinking, but I'm open to, other suggestions. What do you think? And then that way people know how to help me because they see what I'm trying to get done. I'm gonna take a quick break and sip my wine a little bit. But it's definitely something that many women are going through. And I'm not just saying, oh, moms are the only ones that go through, because there are a lot of dads out there too that fight battles that we don't see, they don't express, especially Black dads, because they've also been conditioned to hold it in, keep it to themselves. And that's not fair either. And it made sense when people say breaking generational curses. It's not just about, oh, well, I didn't like the argument in my house. It's about being emotionally better as well. Not holding it all in, not waiting until you're about to erupt like a volcano before you're willing to do things. So, ask yourself, how are you really feeling? And I don't mean the whole, I'm fine. Take a real pause and breathe. And sometimes just saying, I'm not okay. That's okay. It's okay to not be okay. And I used to hear people say that, and I really didn't fully understand it until I became more in tune with my emotions. And I did understand it's okay to not be okay, because I'm not okay all the time. I am not bubbly and happy and smiling. And especially lately, I have been very emotional. I have moments where I am crying and I know why, but I can't stop it because, and then I feel illogical because I am, but it's okay. And that's when I go to the people that I feel safest with, and I can hold space with them. I don't have to hide it and be something that I'm not. Um, but motherhood does add layers. You have to be strong for your kids. You try not to cry in front of them. You want to be present, perfect, patient, and continue on with life. Now, the CDC says Black women are 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy related complications than white women, often because their pain is dismissed or they're expected to tough it out. So when we say this myth is dangerous, it's not just an emotional thing, it's life threatening. We're praised for how much we carry, but we're rarely asked how much we're holding on to. I will tell you from my own experience with my youngest, that was my hardest pregnancy, labor, delivery, all the things. That was my only full-term pregnancy. And that was because they literally would continue to stop my contractions because they wanted me to go to term. Cool. Fine. Well, then now I'm getting close to my due date and I'm not dilating the way that I should. Go to the doctor, do the things. Oh, you're only this far along. Well, still got about a few more days. Okay, fine. Well, it might sound selfish for me to say this, but I didn't want to be pregnant for my birthday, and he was technically due after my birthday. So what do? I walk. You're coming out, whether you want to or not. And sure enough, he did. But I had never been full term, so I was miserable. I was very, very miserable by that time. I had been bigger than I've ever been before, and I couldn't be pregnant anymore. I just could not handle it. Got my first epidural with him, which I still feel the pain from that to this day. When it gets really cold, I can still feel the incision where I got the epidural. I fractured my pelvis, and when I kept telling, I told the doctor while I was in labor, I'm like, I think I need to push, and she said, well, we just gave you the epidural, you don't need to push. And I'm like, no, I need to push. But she did not listen to me, and what made it worse is she was a Black woman. Yeah. And she didn't listen, and she told a nurse to check me, and as the nurse was checking me, my bag broke. So now it's like, oh yes, she needs to push. Everybody scrub up. So then they're scrubbing. She's still not listening to our wants that we wanted or did not want while we were having our child. And her bedside manner was terrible, in my opinion. And I just couldn't believe it. And then, of course, I didn't know I fractured my pelvis at the time because they can't see internally you're having a baby. But I ripped when I was telling her, I'm like, I need to stop. And she's like, no, you need to push. And I pushed because she told me to. And I ripped, and she's like, oh, she's tearing. All the things. So then she gets ready to, go ahead and sew me up. And I'm asking her, and she's like, oh, it doesn't hurt. You just pushed out a baby. Girl, I don't give a crap what you're saying. It's still going to hurt. You're taking a needle to a part that's already sore, and you want to sew me up. And the fact that this woman didn't listen to me multiple stages of delivery was just, it was insensitive. It was just wrong. It was wrong. And I'm thankful I survived. I'm thankful it wasn't worse, but it could have been. Why? Because no one listens to us when we say things. That was the first time that I saw firsthand what people were talking about. When I went for my 6-week checkup, and I didn't understand the whole point at with my older two, I was still young. So it was just like, yeah, I'm done. Cool. Done. I was older when I had my youngest, and I took it a lot more serious, but it also affected me different. It affected all of me a lot differently. And it was a lot. When I was going through all the questions, because you go through real postpartum questions, and she's asking me these questions and I'm answering, but then I'm getting annoyed all at the same time, because it's like, why are you asking me this? Well, had I known that, the reason she's asking me this was because she had to see if I was going through postpartum depression or not. And I was, based on how I answered all those questions, based on the attitude that I was having. And that was a struggle for me, because you want to have it all together and you don't when you hear something like postpartum depression. And then she's, goes to do the physical checkup, and she's like, huh. And I said, huh, what? And she goes, I'm going to send you to Little Company and Mary to do some x-rays. And I'm like, okay. So I get there, and she's looking, and they had to do vaginal ultrasound. So she's in there and she's doing her thing. And she goes, huh. And I go, huh. So are you going to tell me? She's like, oh, I can't tell you anything. You'll have to wait until your doctor looks at the x-rays, X, Y, and Z. So, okay. She said, going back to your doctor. By the time you get there, she should have everything, and you can, hear everything that's going on. So I leave. I go back to my doctor, and they didn't even have me wait. She calls me in the back, and she sits me down, and she tells me, okay, I'm going to prescribe this because I'm sure you're still in pain, which is crazy because my mother-in-law was the one that noticed I was still limping. She's like, it's been 6 weeks. You should not be limping. I was like, I know. I was like, but I hurt still. And she said, that's not okay. And she was the one that noticed. I knew I was, but I wasn't paying much attention to it, and I didn't think anything of it. And sure enough, I had fractured my left pelvis. I mean, it's a hairline fracture, it is what it is. I have no clue how I did it, but I did. I had a hairline fracture. I was suffering from postpartum depression, and I still had to be somebody's mom. On top of the fact that I was able to do a lot of this stuff so much easier when I had the first two. And now here I am, and this is what women are supposed to do, and I'm struggling. I felt like a failure miserably. It's supposed to come naturally as a woman, and I'm having issues. I breastfed all three, and my youngest was the one that I struggled with, and that was hard for me, because why am I not? I'm eating the right foods. I'm taking my vitamins. Why am I not producing milk? And that added on to it, because you're a woman. You're supposed to be able to do this. So when I had to put him on formula, that added to the depression, because it was just like, I'm supposed to be able to do this, and I'm not. And I internalized a lot of it. I just kept going. It was just like, okay, well, if no one else is looking at it as it's a big deal, then why am I? And I think that's one of the most dangerous things that we can do, is sit in silence. You got to let it out. And sometimes you have to cry. And you have to be able to say, I'm not okay. And if I had known then what I know now, there's a lot of things that I would do differently, or I would have done differently. There are things where when I talk to people, I share my story now, and yes, sometimes it does still hurt because it's just like, damn, I really just did not say anything. And I should have. And I'm learning to accept the fact that I I am now able to say certain things without feeling guilty because I'm supposed to be strong. I am a mother. There are those people in general that bash us. Well, you wanted those kids, you had those kids, you're supposed to be X, Y, and Z. Okay, never said that I didn't want my kids. Never said, I don't want to take care of my kids, but sometimes I need a moment. Sometimes I need to not be strong. Sometimes I need to be able to say, this hurts me. I just can't. If I could tell my younger self anything about motherhood and being human, it would be, it's okay to ask for help. I don't have to pretend that I'm okay. And then when I'm not okay, looking like I'm this crazy person because I just said I was okay and I wasn't. And I don't have to sit broken in silence because it sucks. It sucks. Um, I don't want to be, I don't want to overfunction. And that's what I've been doing for a long time is over functioning. And I've been told I do a lot, too much sometimes. And the more I hear people tell me, ask, ask, I do it. I just recently had to do something and we had it planned one way. I was supposed to have other people help me. And then it didn't work out the way that I needed the plan to go. And I wasn't going to ask for help. I was just going to, be like, oh, I'll figure it out and get it done. And then I called a friend and I asked her, I'm like, hey, are you around? And she's like, yeah, I don't have anything to do until this time. I'm like, do you think that you can, follow me to return the rental and bring me back to my car? And she goes, yeah, I can do that. I said, okay, great. So she goes with me and, she helps me do that. And she's like, I'm so happy you asked. She said, because I've been, wanting to help, but didn't know how to help and didn't want to overstep. And that made me feel good to have somebody help me that has been wanting to help me and didn't know how to help me. So that is just one of those smaller experiences where I'm just like, just do it. Just ask. Just ask, because being a good mom doesn't mean I don't need help. Being a good mom doesn't mean that I've got to do it all by myself and I have to just assume that I have to do it by myself, because I don't. And that was a lot of that was on me, was assuming I had to just do it. And I didn't. And I'm thankful that, I am finding the strength in saying, I need help. I am finding the strength in knowing that I have an amazing group of people around me that do show up for me in so many ways that I didn't realize I was loved the way that I am. I take breaks without guilt now. I do. And I love every bit of it, because I have to live. I have to live. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and I don't want to just not be here one day and not have done things. So I'm thankful for that. But, you know, my therapist always tells me that moms who receive emotional support show significant stress levels, significantly lower stress levels. And that is the honest to God truth. I feel like I am healed every time I go and, you know, spend time with my friends. I feel like I have a lot of healing when I'm not, you know, like I need those moments. Like I have to have those moments now where I'm just like, I'm doing something for me that brings me enjoyment. And yes, I know I have certain people around me that wouldn't mind being with me, but I don't want my son to always have to do the things that I do. And the fact that I don't mind asking, I have people that volunteer to take him now is just absolutely amazing. So, to the moms who are watching this, just remember, you don't have to earn breaks. You don't have to earn being soft. Um, you don't have to break yourself to build others up. To the dads that, you know, tell us moms, I'm here, you know, just let me. And I know there's this whole thing going around where it's like, I don't want to have to write a list to help you. But it's like, sometime now, I will say, if I have to tell you how to care for your child for a night and you can't take care of your kid, I don't have that problem. My son has the most amazing dad. He's just gonna be a dad, you know. It's like he's gonna get him in bed. If I come back from going somewhere, he's gonna be in bed. He's gonna be fed. I don't have to be like, oh, X, Y, Z. Now, if I, you know, was planning to do something and then something spontaneously came up, it's like, oh shoot, I'm going to do this, but I did have this ready, you know, for dinner. So that way, that's one less thing he has to think about. But I don't have to be like, oh, give him a bath, do this, do that. No, homework's gonna be done. He's gonna be in bed. All the things, you know, it's not one of those. So I'm not talking about that, but to the dads that are fully functioning, being supportive parents with, you know, the mom that are saying it's okay to go out and, you know, do things that make you happy. You guys are amazing. And you're appreciated. But that was a lot. I feel like I said a lot and got a lot out. Maybe I needed this just as much as anybody else who's watching that needs this, because I want to present a version of motherhood that looks healthy and not some phony facade that, oh, I got it all together, because let me tell you, I do not. But I try my best. So let's reject the myth of choosing, I gotta be the strong mom over, you know, that soft version of you, because you deserve it. So, as always, thank you for spending this time with me. I will be back next week. It's my 100th episode. Oh my gosh. Can you guys believe I have had 100 episodes? 100. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. And yes, I should have hit 100 some time ago, but you know, life be lifing, and I'm just like, wow, 100. That is absolutely wild to me that I hit that. But I'm thankful to be here again. This is the featured wine. Let's get it in focus. Come on. There we go. Again, you can get that at Total Wine and More, Ralph's, Bonds, all the places, the grocery stores. You know, let's go support them. And I will see you next week. Cheers.
Yes, you blessed. Like an aged bottle of wine, so fine. Not to mention eviction if you